We're going to explain how to resolve the expecting binder but got null warning in the Flutter emulator. This frustrating error often pops up during development and usually points to a problem with how your widgets are being built and managed, specifically concerning the life cycle of your widgets and how they communicate. Let's tackle this step by step. 1. Identify the culprit widget. The error message usually points you to a specific line in your code. Focus on that widget and its parent widgets. The issue often stems from trying to access a context or a property of a widget before it's fully initialized or after it's been disposed of. Carefully examine the widget tree around the error location to find the problem widget. 2. Check for early access to context. A common cause is attempting to use build context before the widget has been fully built. The build context provides access to various things like theme data and navigation services. If you're trying to use it in a constructor or during widget initialization, it might be null because the widget tree isn't fully constructed yet. Move any build context dependent operations to init state or did change dependencies for stateful widgets, or use a future builder or future to ensure your data is loaded before you access the context. For stateless widgets, consider refactoring to use stateful widgets if you need to perform asynchronous operations. 3. Verify widget lifecycle methods. Ensure that you are not accessing resources or performing actions in a widget's lifecycle method that should happen earlier or later. For instance, accessing a property in disposa when the widget is already destroyed will cause errors. Remember the order of lifecycle methods, e.g., init state, did change dependencies, build, did update widget, deactivate, dispose. Make sure that your code aligns with the proper stages of the widget's life. 4. Inspect for null checks. Add null checks. If context, null, before accessing build context or any properties that might be null. This helps prevent crashes and handle situations where a widget might not yet have a context assigned. This defensive programming approach can prevent many runtime exceptions. 5. Review widget tree structure. Sometimes the problem isn't directly in the widget throwing the error, but rather in its parent or ancestor widgets. A poorly structured widget tree with incorrect nesting or improper use of keys can also contribute to this error. Review your widget tree for any inconsistencies or overly complex layouts. Consider simplifying the tree if possible. 6. Use provider, riverpod, or block. For complex state management, using a state management solution like provider, riverpod, or block can significantly improve code structure and make it easier to manage the data flow within your application. This can prevent unexpected null values due to improper state handling. They offer mechanisms to manage asynchronous data loading and access to context safely. 7. Rebuild the project. Sometimes the simplest solution is also the most effective. Try cleaning and rebuilding your Flutter project. This might resolve any temporary inconsistencies in your build process. In your terminal, run flutter clean followed by flutter run. 8. Check for errors in data sources. If you're fetching data from a remote source, database API, and the data isn't available, it can lead to null values. Ensure that your data handling is robust and includes error handling to gracefully manage these scenarios. Use try-catch blocks and provide appropriate feedback to the user if data fetching fails. By carefully examining your code using these steps, you should be able to locate and fix the source of the expecting binder but got null warning in your Flutter emulator. Remember to always prioritize clean, well-structured code and a solid state management strategy for robust Flutter applications.